In a previous life, I became a lifelong foe with Lu Chengyuan. He could never forgive me for marrying him on behalf of his legitimate sister, causing him to miss the one he loved for a lifetime. In a new life, on the day of the grand wedding, I leaked to him the route my legitimate elder sister took to elope with her lover. He indeed went after her. I heard that, when I caught that wild pair of mandarin ducks, they were making love in the water and mud. 01. When the crown prince arrived with his men, the young mistress and that Zhao young master were rolled together, naked, and even when pulled apart, they were still sticking together. My personal maid Qinglu, seeing that no one was around, crept close to me, whispering slyly. I heard that Prince Jing's face turned green with anger. Among those present, those who could be killed were all killed, and those who couldn't be killed had their mouths sealed. But unfortunately, the news still leaked out, and now it has become the laughingstock of the entire capital over tea and meals. Oh my, miss, it's a good thing you didn't marry him. Prince Jing is far too brutal. Who knows what kind of torture the eldest young lady would suffer if she fell into his hands. Qing Luo patted her chest. Miss is so bold, that's such a big green hat. Any man would be unable to endure it, not to mention it's the prince consort. I parted the small strands of green lotus over her forehead and tucked them behind her ears, gazing at her intently. This stupid girl, in her past life, to win my heart from Lu Chengyuan, sacrificed herself to the old ageable mansion steward who could be her father this time. I will never let her suffer such grievances again. Miss, what's wrong with you? Don't cry. I inadvertently reddened my eyes and quickly turned away. It's nothing. Prince Jing is not worthy of you like this. Our miss is more talented and beautiful than the eldest young lady. Surely you can find a husband more outstanding than Prince Jing. Silly girl, you can't say that out loud to outsiders. Thinking of what Qing Luo said just now, I sneered. Lu Chengyuan probably doesn't know that my eldest sister has already consorted with her lover. At this moment, they have likely conceived a child together. This is the woman you have pursued all your life. For her, you would even ruin the bond between us as husband and wife and hurt Yuna. Thinking of Yuna, my heart aches once more. Lu Chengyuan, I hope you're satisfied with your choice. May you be forever bound to your legitimate sister, and never have any involvement with me again. 02. What about Zhao Wenyuan? How will the Prince Regent deal with him? Zhao Wenyuan is the scholar who eloped with the legitimate sister, Wang Qingyao, at last year's Mid-Autumn Festival night market. Wang Qingyao fell in love at first sight with that man. Ever since, she has been forcing me in various ways to cover for their dates. Now she's even making me take her place in marriage, while keeping it hidden from our parents. I heard Prince Jing was about to run Zhao Gongzi through with his sword right then and there, but the eldest daughter threw herself in front of Zhao Gongzi, begging the prince to spare him. Prince Jing eventually relented and brought both of them back to his residence, with the eldest daughter pleading for him. Zhao Gongzi's life should be safe, but torture is certainly inevitable. An ordinary man couldn't endure such humiliation, let alone Prince Jing. In a past life, after I performed the rites with Lu Chengyuan, he got drunk with joy and mistook me for his elder sister. It was only afterward that he and the others learned the truth, but by then everything had already been settled. His Majesty and concubine Hui also stopped him from seeking out Wang Qingyao again. It took him a long time to accept his eldest sister marrying someone else. After that, there was a period when he genuinely wanted to treat me with sincerity. It was also during those days that I had Yuna. Unfortunately, upon learning that I had facilitated the marriage between those two individuals, he concluded that I had conspired with Zhao Wenyuan to deceive my elder sister, aiming to usurp her position as the consort of Prince Jing. Our relationship gradually deteriorated until we grew utterly disillusioned with each other. Pity my cloud, for since I can remember I have never felt a father's love. Just for the heart flutter of a fleeting glance in my youth, I have wasted a lifetime, and I am remorseful to my cloud. Too worthless in this life. I will never repeat the same mistake. Lowering her gaze, she suppressed the hatred in her heart. When she looked up again, her eyes had cleared. The bronze mirror reflected her still youthful face, bright-eyed, with pearly teeth, a beauty of unparalleled grace. In her childhood, this face had once aroused Wang Qingyao's envy and resentment, so she had hidden her looks. only revealing her most beautiful self on her wedding day. Yesterday, what had she been thinking in her past life when she married in her stead? Did she believe that with this face, she could win Prince Jing's affection? Did she think she could make her husband her safe haven? How absurd. Qing Luo helped me take off the heavy hair ornaments one by one. Why are they so heavy, miss? You've been wearing them all night. Your neck must be terribly sore. It's all right, I said with a light smile. Just style my hair into a simple bun, the elderly maid by my legitimate mother's side had just come to urge me to head to the main hall. Thinking that there will probably be a tough fight later, I squeezed the palms of my hands 03, just stepping into the front hall, a teacup smashed at my feet, and I halted in my steps, kneel down. There are several pieces of broken porcelain in the hall. The legitimate mother wore a furious expression, and the malice in her eyes was so fierce that she wished to tear me apart. Lowering my gaze to suppress the sarcasm in my eyes, I stepped a few steps to the side, found a clean patch of ground, and was about to kneel on the shards, Act 1 stalls, to find me so blatantly. It seems she is truly furious this time. But it's not yet the moment to openly oppose her. If I must endure, I should endure for now. I hesitate whether to shift over, but fortunately the cushion on my lap is thick enough. The legitimate mother, not waiting for my hesitation, pounces over, aiming to slap me into fragments. Father blocked her way. Enough, that's it, he sighed helplessly. At this point, you still defend her. The biological mother's demeanor gradually went mad. She, a child born of a lowly concubine, how dare she collude with a man outside to harm my Yaohua? She is your only legitimate daughter, Wang Mingchang, you bastard. Do you deserve me? She frantically pounded the man in front of her, the vendetta she had nurtured for a lifetime erupting completely at this moment. Calm down, this may not be related to Qingyin, the father said, helplessly trying to control her. Who else could it be if not her? The legitimate mother screamed. My Yaya is innocent and naive. It must be this cheap girl who instigated it. She envies my Yaya, envying Yaya for being prettier and nobler than her, and for being able to marry into the royal family. She ruined Yaya. I will ruin her. After saying that, he struggled desperately to break free. My lord, my lady, someone has been sent from the palace. The butler hurried in to report. Hearing this, both father and mother were startled. They stopped moving and saw fear in each other's eyes. Wearing a green hat that the whole capital knows on Prince Jing's head, can the royal family let the Wang family go? In a corner where no one paid attention, I curled my lips into a smile. Lu Chengyuan moves surprisingly fast. 04. Your Excellency the King and Madam, you have truly raised a good daughter. Grand Eunuch Shu's yin-yang tone rang out, and Prince and Princess Wang flinched at the same time, letting the royal face be swept clean is a great crime that deserves eradicating 9 clans. How can one not be afraid? Grudgingly and complexly, second Uncle Shu looked at the people of the Wang family and sighed. I really don't know what King Jing is thinking. Sir Wang, His Majesty orders me to come and take Miss Wang's dowry. The actions of Father Wang and Mother Wang to kneel halted. Take the dowry. Isn't he here to take the head of the Wang family? Both saw shock reflected in each other's eyes. Eunuch Shu, what does this mean? Prince Jing, oh no, now I should call him the 7th prince. Eunuch Shu sighed again, wearing an expression of exasperation. The 7th prince has used his military achievements to plead with His Majesty and consort Hui not to hold the grave mistake of first Miss Wang against her, and still grant her the position of his rightful princess consort. His Majesty, in a fit of rage, stripped him of his princely title. Now the old servant has been sent to retrieve the 7th prince consort's dowry. In the future, I hope Lord Wang and Lady Wang will counsel the 7th prince consort more. His Highness is deeply devoted to her. I beg her to cherish such fortune. Having said this, he gave them a profound glance, startled by the unexpected news. Wang's father and mother were momentarily taken aback. The servants of the Wang family also exchanged bewildered glances. To not even mind such a glaring cuckold's affair. Prince Jing, no, His 7th Highness, is truly a remarkable man. The 7th princess consort was harmed by treacherous individuals during the wedding escort. This accident was not her intention, and she is also a victim. Eunuch Shu added another sentence. Now the wicked one has been detained by your highness. And I will give everyone an explanation as soon as possible. Oh, yes, 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 right, right, right. Father Wang was the first to regain his senses, hurriedly agreeing, and called the butler over. Hurry and have someone carry the young Mrs. Dowry. Grandpa Shu, this way please. The rightful mother took a moment to digest the information, a huge surprise blooming across her cheeks. She whispered in my ear with pride, "Ha ha ha, did you see, little brat, even if such things happen, the Lord can tolerate Yaroa. What belongs to Yaroa you can never snatch away." After speaking, she stepped quickly to catch up with the others. 05, even after all this, your highness, oh, pardon me, seventh prince, can still endure it. After the crowd in the hall dispersed, Qing Luo helped me to my feet. His highness must truly be deeply in love with the eldest young lady. Miss, perhaps it's time to set your sights elsewhere. The seventh prince only has the eldest young lady in his heart. She's not worth your constant longing. Constant longing. That was long behind me, but I also can't stand by and watch those who have hurt me live happily ever after. Loving someone so deeply that you stop holding grudges, I don't buy that. Having lived a lifetime, I may not claim to fully understand men, but I know at least a thing or two about them. He acts this way because he once regretted for a lifetime. Wang Qingyao is the lifelong regret and obsession buried in his heart, high and suspended like a bright moon, elegant, clear, and spotless. What is unattainable now that he has gained what he lost? How could he let her go? He had imagined a perfect ending between them for a lifetime. But would the story that lands in reality really be flawless? He might not care for a moment, but can he never care again? I'll wait and see. 06. Let me go, Lu Chengyuan, you bastard. When Yuan and I are truly in love, don't even think about tearing us apart. Wang Qingyao, tied up, was thrown on the bed. She had already been washed clean and dressed in neat, clean clothes. Unlike the ragged state she was in when dragged back from the temple last night, Lu Chengyuan, who had just returned from the palace, sat down nearby and gazed at her deeply, his eyes filled with longing and affection. He slowly stood up and walked to her front, carefully lifting his hand to touch her cheek. Wang Qingyao turned her head to avoid him, looking at him with vigilant eyes. What are you trying to do? Yeah, I can let everything from before go. I can let it slide, Lu Chengyuan said, lowering his hand in disappointment, a hint of hurt flashing across his face. I will give you time, until the day you accept me, but you just try leaving me again. Seeing that he hadn't forced himself, Wang Qingyao breathed a sigh of relief, but the thought of my beloved life being uncertain in life or death made my heart tighten again. Where is Wenyuan? I want to see him. Don't mention him to me. Lu Chengyuan slammed the teacup in a fit of rage. Wang Qingyao was startled, and tears suddenly welled up in her eyes. Don't cry, yeah. Seeing her tears, Lu Chengyuan panicked as if the taut string finally snapped. Wang Qingyao broke into a loud cry. Enough. Enough, Lu Chengyuan said helplessly, his eyes sour. I'll take you to see him, but you must promise me this is the last time you two meet. From now on, you can only calmly be my princess consort. Wang Qingyao nodded hurriedly. 07. Wenyuan, what's wrong with you? After her eyes adjusted to the light in the dungeon, the sight before her jolted Wang Qingyao's heart to the point of breaking. Zhao Wenyuan lay on a pile of weeds in a thin garment, his white clothes stained with dirt and dark blood marks. Clearly, he had been brutally beaten. How could this happen? Wang Qingyao gently touched those wounds, large tears rolling down drop by drop. Lu Chengyuan, how could you torture him? She yelled angrily, willfully arrogant without fear. Lu Chengyuan stood in the shadows not far away, his expression obscure and unreadable. Cough, cough. Yaroa. Zhao Wenyuan weakly opened his eyes and held her hand. I'm fine, don't cry, I have something to tell you, please go out for a moment. Wang Qingyao turned to Lu Chengyuan and said. Lu Chengyuan felt his chest tighten, but he could do nothing about it and could only turn around and walk out slowly. He could firmly prevent them from meeting, but he was afraid of the gaze of the beloved turning away in disgust. Standing at the door of the dark room, watching the candle tears drip little by little, He didn't know how long had passed when a faint breath seemed to come from behind him. Lu Chengyuan's body stiffened violently, and he turned around and hurried into the depths of the dark room. What lay before him stimulated his brain into a blank. The woman sat on the man, and the two kissed passionately, their breathing clearly audible from the intimate contact. Wang Qingyao's garment had been stripped half off, revealing her fair, smooth chest. While Zhao Wenyuan's dirty hands rubbed back and forth over it, it seemed as if something was still moving beneath me. Last night in the dilapidated temple, where people were crowded together, the scene of the two individuals barely surviving together was not as vividly presented before my eyes as it is now. At this moment, Lu Chengyuan's eyes nearly burst with fury. He had no time to think of anything else, and he pulled out his sword and stabbed Zhao Wenyuan through the chest with a hard, burning thrust. Wang Qingyao screamed and fainted. 08 When the news of Zhao Wenyuan's death arrived, my painting hand paused, and a drop of ink fell, ruining the entire painting. Sighing, I lowered the brush in my hand. The young lady couldn't stand the shock and fainted, and is still unconscious. Qinglu paused. The imperial physician has diagnosed that she is more than a month pregnant. I sneered with a wry smile. There's no need to guess, this child is obviously not Lu Chengyuan's. Consort Hui has given her abortifacient medicine, but she can't get it down. We'll have to wait for the eldest daughter to wake up. After waking up, she finds her beloved already gone, but he has left behind a posthumous child. Knowing Wang Qingyao as I do, she will definitely keep this child. 09 Indeed, 5 days later, Wang Qingyao woke up and hysterically demanded to seek revenge on Lu Chengyuan. I'm going to kill him, then go be with Wenyuan. Miss, please snap out of it. Wang Qingyao's personal maid Chunlan cried, embracing her. If not for yourself, at least think of the baby you're carrying. Mr. Zhao has already left, and His Highness is so fond of you. Just stay with him and make a good life together. A child. Wang Qingyao was startled. She looked down and touched her still flat abdomen, then tears of joy streamed down her face. Wenyuan, we're going to have a child. Under Wang Qingyao's insistence, Lu Chengyuan allowed the child to be kept. When the outside world heard the news, their mockery of him grew even more pronounced. A royal prince should not be so humiliated. His wife was played with by someone else, and he was left to raise the child. How shameful, how shameful. No wonder he's a prince. The heart is so broad and generous. This day's family's face is ruined in his hands. Ha 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 ha. The emperor in the palace, upon hearing the news, was so furious that he threw countless treasures, nearly demoting Lu Chengyuan to a commoner. 10 The next time they met Wang Qingyao, it was at a palace banquet. At that time, her belly was noticeably protruding. She sat at the table, stroking her belly, a maternal radiance shining on her face. The child in her belly is already more than 4 months old. This is her first public appearance after marriage. Although the incident had passed, once people saw her, their gazes at Lu Chengyuan were mixed with obvious mockery and sarcasm. Greeted by the crowd's gaze, Lu Chengyuan's expression darkened noticeably. In these months, father has been struggling on the court, and that group of opportunistic old foxes, keenly aware of His Majesty's displeasure toward the Wang family, have all seized the opportunity to sideline and suppress him. Father once contemplated resigning from office and retreating from public life, but all gave up because the legitimate mother cried and made a scene. My situation is even more difficult. At home she is targeted by her legitimate mother, while outside she is shunned by other ladies. If her sister can do such scummy things, what decent goods could she be? Surely she also has a lover, right? Get away from her quickly, so you won't get involved in any filth. Qing Luo trembled with anger when she heard these words. Miss, how could they slander you like this? You're not yet married, and your reputation is ruined like this. How can you get married now? Marry someone. I looked toward the long, towering figure in the distance. 11 Shinichen, the eldest legitimate son of the Shen family, the queen's own nephew, and also the crown prince's cousin. This man has long been the object of affection for many noble ladies in the capital. He had long since reached the age for marriage and family, yet over the years, his betrothal remained undecided. There were many speculations about it in the capital, but he simply smiled them away. In the previous life, after the crown prince died of illness, The Shun family gradually weakened under Lu Chengyuan's suppression. It was not until Lu Chengyuan ascended the throne, the empress was sent to guard the imperial mausoleum, and the Shun family retreated into seclusion, that Shinichen also vanished from public view in my memory. He never married. Qingluo. Find a chance to give this to young Master Shun. I slipped a note into Qingluo's hand. 12. Miss Wang what brings you to me? In a secluded corner where no one is. I have waited for a while. When the person behind me drew near, I turned around and looked into a pair of smiling eyes as they finally saw my face. Those beautiful eyes trembled slightly. I felt a little dazed, and only upon first close encounter with this person did I realize he was so good-looking. Lowering my gaze to suppress the nerves, I looked up again and got straight to the point. I know where the medicinal herb you're looking for is. The smile in his eyes faded, and he looked at me seriously. In a previous life, the Shun family had been seeking this medicinal herb. Unfortunately, there was never any clue about it, so the Crown Prince's Highness died young precisely because he lacked this herb. Many years later, for Yuna, I inadvertently found it. If His Highness the Crown Prince were alive, it would be hard for Lu Chengyuan to ascend, and the Shun family would not fall. Now, I no longer need this medicine, but His Highness the Crown Prince needs it. I admit I have hidden my own private motives. I do not wish to see Lu Chengyuan rise to power, and those who have hurt me will not achieve their goals with pride, but I have conditions. I stared straight into his eyes. Marry me. 13. Shinichen had been gone for quite a while before I finally recovered from my tense emotions. For some reason, I became so nervous. In front of him, he looked like a proper gentleman, but the gaze in his eyes seemed to pierce through me. I was just about to start returning to the banquet, stand a little farther from Shinichen. The familiar voice made me halt in my steps, and I suddenly looked toward the figure not far away. Lu Chengyuan. When did he arrive? I pressed down the anger in my heart, assuming an innocent and gentle expression, and said sweetly, "Brother-in-law, why are you here?" The man's figure stiffened upon hearing my address when he spoke. Again, his voice seemed a little hoarse. "Shinichen isn't a good man. He isn't. Could it be you are?" I suppressed the irony in my eyes, pretending to be a maiden in spring. "Brother-in-law, not to hide anything from you, I do like Mr. Shun, but I know my status is low. I'm not worthy of him." "You like him?" the man asked in disbelief. "Yes," I said coyly, fidgeting with the hem of my clothes. "I've admired Mr. Shun for many years. Please don't tell anyone else." Having finished speaking, she pretended to be shy and ran away. So gross. If I stayed a little longer, I'm afraid I'd end up vomiting behind him. Lu Chengyuan's expression was inscrutable, the whole person sinking into the shadows, not knowing what he was thinking. 14. The banquet was in progress. Watching the performances unfold before me, eating one exquisite dish after another, I somehow found it incredibly dull. At that moment, the Empress whispered a few words beside His Majesty's ear, and His Majesty suddenly asked, "Does Yunhang have someone he admires?" I was startled, lifting my head to look, but unfortunately I was sitting too far away to clearly see the situation at the main seat. Many young ladies who were still waiting to be married also pricked up their ears. Shinichen walked slowly to the center, performed the kowtow, and then declared in a clear voice, "Your servant admires the second young lady of the Wang family, Wang Qingyan. I beg your Majesty and Her Highness to grant this wish." The surroundings erupted in an uproar. "Wang Qingyan, who is that? Is that the Wang family related to the 7th prince's consort? My God, does the daughter of this family possess some kind of supernatural power? She's so enchanting that even one or two men are completely captivated by her." For a moment, all kinds of gazes fell upon me. There are those who are curious, jealous, and contemptuous. My biological mother stood beside me, glaring at me fiercely. On the other side, Lu Chengyuan's eyes were full of complexity. At this moment, His Majesty's expression was somewhat unfriendly. Because of the matter with Wang Qingyao, he held the Wang family in deep loathing, but due to Lu Chengyuan, he would not act against the Wang family for the time being. Wang Qingyao alone might be tolerable, but another Wang Qingyan as well. Father kept wiping sweat to the side. His Majesty's gaze upon him longed to skin him alive. 15. His Majesty did not agree, but also did not refuse. After this banquet, I became the public enemy of countless unmarried young ladies in the capital, and the daughter of the Wang family also turned into a detested byword. I underestimated you, you little vixen, to think you have such seductive skills. My legitimate mother's gaze was venomous, but fortunately, my father defended me, so she could not harm me. Although I was not born of my legitimate mother, I was registered under her name. Unless absolutely necessary, I did not want to gain a reputation for being unfilial. Everywhere you antagonize my Yao Yao, Lu Chengyuan and Shinichen are backed by the Crown Prince Ming Xian, who belongs to the opposing faction. Wang Qingyao is already Lu Chengyuan's wife, and whether I can marry Shinichen still needs the consideration of His Majesty and my father. But soon, the legitimate mother had no time to care for me, because Wang Qingyao got into trouble. Not long after returning from the palace banquet, a maidservant who accompanied Wang Qingyao hurried to the Wang residence to report that after the seventh prince consort returned, she had been bleeding continuously from her lower body. That child is probably beyond saving. 16 Not long after, I saw her again in a white dress, her face pale as paper. She sat quietly in her boudoir, looking at the sky outside the window. I wonder what she's thinking. It's rare to see her so quiet. The royal family would never allow this child to be born. As for Lu Chengyuan, he probably tacitly approved their actions after her miscarriage. She insisted on returning to the Wang family home to recover. Her father and mother brought her back from Lu Chengyuan's place. Yaroa, I, your mother, have only you as my daughter. Even if you consider it for me, you must live well and not do something stupid. Okay. The biological mother aged many times overnight. Such a strong and sharp-minded person had been worrying herself sick for her daughter. Wang Qingyao's lifeless eyes finally showed a trace of movement. She had planned to go with her lover and child, but after seeing her old father and mother in tears, she could not bear it. Having recuperated at the Wang family for more than a month, I returned to continue tormenting Lu Chengyuan. Together. 17 The royal edict granting the betrothal has finally arrived, and with it comes the news I had been seeking for many years. Miss Qinglu cried, placing the message before my eyes. It's really master. We've searched for so many years and finally found him. Prepare the carriage. Without time to think, I lift my skirt and rush toward the main gate. Miss, wait for me. Green Lotus follows from behind. The person who had never been found in the previous life surprisingly has a clue in this life, separated by 2 lifetimes. I can't wait to see him at the entrance of the Wang family estate. A carriage seemed to have been waiting for some time. The unfamiliar faces around the carriage made me frown. These were not the Wang family servants. They were. Second Miss Wang. A corner of the carriage curtain was lifted, revealing Shinichen's exquisitely painted face. He looked at me, his eyes brimming with a smile. If you don't mind. Not at all. I dashed over in one swift move, squeezing him aside. Let's go. He froze for a moment, then his smile grew even wider. You knew it was me. I gave him a glance. In a previous life, I already knew that the master behind the largest intelligence hub in the capital, Lingyun building, was him. Unfortunately, in that life, Lu Chengyuan rose to power, and under his suppression, Lingyun building gradually waned. This life, Lu Chengyuan still doesn't have that ability. I had my suspicions when I received this message, and seeing Shinichen at the door only made me more certain. Why are you helping me? Aren't we engaged? Before he could finish the sentence, he became a bit embarrassed. As he slightly turned his head, I noticed his ears were a little red. I suddenly felt like teasing him a bit. Exchange one clue for a marriage, and now I owe you another favor as well. How am I supposed to repay it? After speaking, she leaned closer to him. From the perspective of biological age, he seemed 7 years older than me, but in terms of mindset, he looked to me like a pure-hearted youth. Shinichen's ears grew even redder, and he began to change the subject. Thank you for your clue. We found the medicinal herbs, and the Crown Prince's condition has been brought under control. As for the marriage, it is something I requested. I froze, looking at him blankly, not understanding. This journey is long, and you traveling alone as a woman makes me uneasy. As your fiancé, I should accompany you. I looked at the scenery flashing outside the carriage. my heart both anxious and uneasy. Thank you very much. Beside the thanks, I don't know how to express my gratitude at this moment. No need to be polite with me. 18 After days of travel and toil, I stand in front of this shabby little hut, but my legs feel as if they are loaded with lead and refuse to move an inch, awaiting both anticipation and fear. I hesitate to act. Yina, Shinichen murmurs softly beside me, encouraging me these days. This guy has been pushing his luck more and more, and his way of addressing me has gradually changed from Miss Wang to Yina. The tension seemed to ease a little, and I was about to step forward when the door suddenly opened. My whole body froze. A silhouette carved into the depths of memory appeared on the screen, instantly blurring my sight. He seemed much older than in memory. Father, unable to control myself any longer, I rushed toward that figure, as the longing suppressed for 2 lifetimes burst forth. Yina, 7 years ago, Lin Huayuan, then the Grand Secretariat, was being hunted down for a case. He watched his wife and daughter stabbed before his eyes and himself rolled off a cliff. Fortunately rescued by a crippled widower, he lost his memory for a period. When he recovered his memories, he found that there was no point in returning to the capital. The family was broken apart, and his enemies were captured by the court. It seemed there was no place for him anymore, so he planned to stay in this small mountain village to take care of the widower in his old age, as a way to repay the lifeblood-saving grace. But he didn't know that his daughter Lin Huanin hadn't died. That strike veered several inches, leaving her with a breath of life, rescued by one of his subordinates. That subordinate sacrificed himself while fleeing to shield her. Perhaps fate should not have allowed her to perish. She, sustaining her injured body, found a secluded residence where a mother and daughter saved her. That girl was about her age, 7 or 8 years old, and her name also contained a character that shared the same pronunciation as hers, Wang Qingyin. Yina, she brewed medicine for her, told her stories, and asked her through tears whether it hurt. That was her first true friend. Later, she learned that the mother and daughter were the kept mistress and illegitimate child of Scholar Wang. By that time, they had already been murdered by men sent by Wang's legitimate wife. Hiding under the bed, she watched helplessly as they shed their last tears of blood. That gentle, kind woman, even at the moment of death, signaled her with her eyes to stay silent. In the end, that residence was consumed by a great fire. She assumed Wang Qingyin's identity, found the grandmother of the Wang family who was still alive at the time, brought her back to the Wang family, raised her under the Wang mother's name, and she became the second young lady of the Wang family. Thanks to father's coldness, he hadn't visited that mother and daughter for many years, so he had long forgotten Wang Qingyin's appearance, which gave her the possibility to replace her. This grudge must be avenged slowly. 20. My voice has grown this big. My father looked at me with a relieved smile, then glanced at Shinichen who was sitting beside me. I remember you, that Shin family kid. When I was in office, your grandfather sent you to the Dali temple to train for a while. Indeed, my son-in-law. By the way, uncle is also Heng's teacher. My son-in-law. Father frowned deeply, his gaze sweeping between us. Have you two married? Not yet. The imperial order has been issued. We are waiting for uncle to return to officiate our wedding. Not urgent. Father glanced at him lightly. I want to keep Yina for another 2 years. Uncle. Shinichen panicked. I gradually calmed down, listening to the conversation between the two. I couldn't help but let out a chuckle. 21 After a quick tidy-up, my father took Uncle Chen with us on the way back. Uncle Chen is the widower who saved my father. When he saw people from our line of work, he was still a bit nervous and awkward, but under my father's reassurance he gradually grew familiar with us. The position of Grand Justice has long been taken by someone else. After returning to the capital, His Majesty granted my father a peerage-equivalent incidental post and a courtyard. I also moved out of the Wang family, returned to the Wei residence, and officially resumed the identity of Lin Huanin. The legitimate mother looked wary, while the grandfather's expression was complex. I wanted to find a trace of guilt or longing for Wang Qingyin and her mother on the grandfather's face. Unfortunately, there was none. What a heartless and unfeeling man. 22 As if provoked by his father's words, not long after returning, Shinichen began sending betrothal gifts to the Wei family. His parents also came to discuss the wedding date. Father gradually relented. That guy has had his eye on you for 8 years, father said through gritted teeth. I was startled. Shinichen, 8 years ago, how could I not remember? Moreover, 8 years ago I was only 7, while he was already a dashing 14-year-old, surely wouldn't fall for a yellow-haired girl like me, right? Father, don't talk nonsense. My face grew a bit flushed. I'm not talking nonsense, father snorted coldly. 8 years ago a mad dog chased and bit him, and you happened to be there with a handheld crossbow. You shot that mad dog dead with 1 arrow. Later, the Shun family paid a courtesy call, and even sent him to the Dali temple, for a good name as training. Whenever your mother brings you to the Dali temple to find me, his eyes are like glued to you. Speaking of his mother, his words paused, and his eyes filled with grief and longing. Then, in an even harsher tone, he said, you were still young back then, so I didn't take him seriously. I never expected him to hold a grudge for so many years. I stood stupidly listening to my father rant and nag, unable to connect the reckless youth in his words with the graceful young gentleman of today who is as refined as an orchid and jade tree. Deep in my memory, it seems there was such a thing as a child. I had no interest in needlework but was fond of weapons. That time, I had just modified a small hand crossbow and was about to test it when I encountered this scene. Back then, my eyes were only on that mad dog. It was my target. I really didn't notice there was a ragged-looking boy, but chased and bitten by a mad dog. Whenever I think of this person as Shinichen, I just want to laugh in an instant. I feel that the sense of him being unattainable has diminished by more than half. 23. Just when I thought all traces would never overlap with my past life again, Lu Chengyuan shows up at my door. Do not marry him. There is a pain and remorse in his eyes that I cannot understand now. He has lost the vigor of his past life. He seems to be buried in shadows, dull and the mockery of the world, the emperor's disappointment, the distrust of his subordinates, and a bleak future. Each one is enough to destroy his self-esteem over the years. If you don't marry him, are you going to marry me, brother-in-law? These words stung him, making him shudder. Do you believe in past lives? In your past life, you married me, he cried out in pain. I regret it, Qingyin. Wait for me a little longer, okay? Don't marry someone else. This time I will definitely treasure you, 7th prince, I snapped anxiously. Don't ruin my reputation. Calling you brother-in-law would be gracious of me. Remember that your wife is Wang Qingyao, and I, Lin Wanin, have no relation at all to you or the Wang family. Lu Chengyuan stepped forward to try to pull me away, but a figure blocked in front of me. Shinichen. I was startled. When did you arrive? How much more did you hear? He turned back, giving me a reassuring look, then faced away coldly and said, please, His 7th Highness, avoid leaning toward this and do not disturb my fiancé. A scene where Shinichen protects me stimulates Lu Chengyuan to the point his eyes redden. He looked at me for a long time, and finally, with no other choice, turned and left. I opened my mouth, not knowing how to explain to Shinichen. There's no need to explain anything. I trust you. The gentleness and trust in his eyes calmed my unease. Actually, what he said about his past life did indeed happen. After hesitating for a moment, I decided to come clean. I narrated in detail everything that happened in the past life. Shinichen remained as calm as water throughout, not revealing his thoughts. That's how it is. I bit my lip. If you mind, I will go ask His Majesty to withdraw the decree. Our engagement has always been a transaction. If you help me find my father, that would also count as repaying my favor. But inwardly, there was an inexplicable sourness and reluctance. He suddenly gripped my wrist. Don't ever say that again. Since it was the previous life, it has nothing to do with this life. A look of concern appeared in his eyes. Yina, I am not him. You can trust me once, in this life. I will not miss you again. 24. Miss, eat something to settle your stomach. Qinglu brought over a plate of pastries. Guyu gave these. He, wearing the bridal gown again and waiting inside the new house. I am no longer uneasy about my past life. Now there is full safety in my heart. Shinichen didn't keep me waiting long. When the veil was slowly lifted, I saw his eyes filled with astonishment and tenderness. You look quite good in red too. I suddenly felt a bit nervous in red. He exudes charm even more than when he wore white, adding an extra touch of seduction, like a celestial being exiled from the heavens being dragged into the mortal world. He laughed upon hearing this. Wait a moment. I was startled by the hand that suddenly reached out to me. He froze, then his smile deepened. What is my lady thinking? A warm hand rests at my lips, gently wiping away a crumb of pastry. My face reddens further. Shinichen gazes at me intently. If my lady isn't ready yet, I can wait. I was stunned. That won't do. I've had my eye on him for so long. I pulled him toward me, steeled my heart, and kissed him on the lips. Startled by my action, Shinichen snapped back to his senses, let out a soft laugh, then gently held the back of my head and deepened the kiss. Before I knew it, all our clothes had been removed. He traced the scar on my chest with his fingers, his eyes full of tenderness. It stopped hurting long ago. I took his hand. By the way, at that palace banquet, did you recognize me back then? After returning to the Wang family in place of Wang Qingyan, I rarely attended outside events. That palace banquet seemed to be the first time I ran into him in 8 years. Yes, Shinichen's voice trembled slightly beyond his control. You have no idea how excited I was, especially when you said marry me. I felt like I was about to explode. I was amused by his words, my branches swaying in all directions. The red candle flickers, filling the room with warmth. 25. No one expected that, at His Majesty's dying moments, the 7th prince would choose to rebel. It's a pity it was quelled quickly and didn't cause much of a splash, not only because the crown prince is still alive, but also because there are rebels under Lu Chengyuan. On the day Lu Chengyuan captured Wang Qingyao and Zhao Wenyuan, among those killed were relatives of the rebels. Neither earned heaven's mandate nor the people's support. Everything is different from my past life. In a past life I was a king. In this life I am a defeated bandit. All in the blink of an eye. When the news arrived, Wang Qingyao laughed and ran toward the city gate, calling Zhao Wenyu's name, leaping down in a single bound. I suddenly feel that if a person cannot learn to love truly, no matter who they are with, they will become a resentful partner. The Wang family also fell with Lu Chengyuan overnight. Afterwards, I went to the prison to see Father Wang for the last time. I held the portraits of the mother and daughter and asked him if he still remembered what they looked like. This man who had been cowardly for most of his life finally trembled and hid his face, crying, "Yina, don't be sad, be careful not to move the fetus." Shinichen wrapped his arms around me from behind, his gentle palms stroking my abdomen. I snuggled into his broad arms, smelling his breath, and gradually my turbulent emotions calmed. In the neighboring cell, a person stared dumbly over at us, at a distance not too close nor too far, faintly sensing the remorseful breath emanating from him. Regret, unwillingness, despair. Shinichen shot him a wary glance, turned sideways to block his line of sight toward me, and helped me walk slowly away from this dark, rotting place. We walked toward the warm and bright place. End of story. Now let's listen to the second story. I am in Jiangnan recovering from illness for the 3rd year. Li Mubai entrusted someone to deliver a letter. Wanqing, I have already passed the imperial examination as Zhuang Yuan and should marry you at once. But there is a strict rule among officials in the capital. A wife cannot be mute. Little sister is naive and innocent. She hurried to bring me pens, ink, and paper. A sister. Quickly write a letter to him and tell him that you have cured your stammer the day before, and you can be a wife of a government official. But I hesitated and did not write, only because years ago, someone said they would personally strike down this iron rule for me. Not long ago, he just ascended the throne. 01 My little sister has just begun to learn, and she does not yet understand the meaning of the 2 characters ascending the throne, only biting the pen and asking me, "Sis, does he always keep his word once he speaks?" I thought for a moment, then I pulled out a sealed letter from the bookshelf. That was a letter someone sent me in the 2nd month after he ascended the throne, not long ago. I gestured with the pen toward that letter. Xinli says that the first law he enshrined after taking the throne was to abolish it. Little sister cried out, "So, is brother Li Mubai lying to you?" I nod gently. After all, there will never be a second chance. I haven't had time to be sad yet. The courier boy who delivered the letter turned back, and in his hand was another letter. I slowly unfold the letter. Evening sun, I may not be able to marry you as my wife, but I can take you as a noble concubine. The younger sister peeks up on tiptoe to take a look. She asks me, older sister, what does concubine mean? I'm a lowly woman, I'm skilled in trading. The concubine, like merchandise, could be sold or disposed of at the will of the principal wife. No woman would ever want to be a concubine. The younger sister understood. She immediately perched her hands on her hips and cursed Li Mubai. Get out, damn it, how could my sister be so casually sold by him? The book boy frowned, his words full of dissatisfaction. She is so rude. Miss Sue should discipline her properly. My younger sister shot him a glare. He took another stick from the corner. As tall as she was, he moved straight toward his opponent. Get lost too, you're Li Mubai's page boy, and you're a bad guy. The page boy was struck and staggered backward repeatedly, yet he remains unconvinced. He said to me, the great Xiao's iron rule is as such, if you must blame anyone, blame Miss Sue yourself for being a mute. Hearing that, the little sister's stick slammed straight onto his head. The stray book boy grimaced in pain. He covered his head and exclaimed, you sisters are so fierce, you surely are not fit to be the legitimate wife. Being a young miss of the Wang family is better. 02 The Wang family's young miss, Wang Shuero. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also the only daughter of the Jiangnan prefect, a noble identity. We were originally strangers to each other, until 3 years ago. I came to Jiangnan to recover from illness and happened to meet Li Mubai. We met through poetry and became close confidants. He then asked for my name, but since we were meeting for the first time after all, and my father had warned me repeatedly, I concealed my identity. I said I was just a poor, lone girl who had brought my younger sister to the south to seek medical help. Li Mubai was frank and straightforward. Although my family has always lived in poverty, I have high aspirations to establish a steadfast heart for heaven and earth, and to strive for peace for all under the heavens. We share matching ambitions more and more. He does not mind that I have been mute since childhood. I also admire his talents and knowledge. Moreover, Li Mubai's appearance is extremely handsome. Even Wang Zuiro secretly grows fond of him. So when she learned that Li Mubai and I had mutually sworn to a lifelong relationship, she came to my door. She wants me to give up Li Mubai on my own. Su Wanqing, you're a mute, you're not worthy of him. Before I could respond, Li Mubai, who had heard the news, hurried over. He shielded me behind him. He told the other party, I love Wanqing, whether she is mute or not, I love her. Wang Shuero thus hates me to the point of poisoning me. She is the magistrate's only daughter, in Jiangnan, with the power to cover the sky and the sun, so it would be very easy for her to set obstacles for me. I came to Jiangnan, originally to find a divine doctor to cure my lameness, but Wang Shuero resisted repeatedly, causing me to miss the only divine physician who could help me several times. If Li Mubai hadn't rushed to the capital for the imperial examination, Wang Shuero would have gone to a temple to pray for him. I might miss the divine physician once again. Fortunately, heaven has not treated me badly. It is just that I have not spoken for many years. Though the stammering illness has been cured, according to the godly doctor's instructions, I must remain silent for half a month. That is why I did not write a letter to Li Mubai. I want to wait for his return, and speak his name aloud to him face to face. I think he will be delighted. But he wrote these 2 damn letters and even offered you as his concubine. Sister, shouldn't we wait for him anymore? The younger sister sat sully on the threshold. Just as I reached out to embrace her, several people rushed in from outside the door and, without a word, knocked me and my younger sister to the ground. Older sister, I'm in so much pain. The younger sister lay on the ground, clutching her arm and crying. I couldn't care less about my own pain. I struggled to get up, then held her in my arms again, discovering that her clothes were torn, with dark red blood seeping out. My heart ached so much that tears welled up in my eyes, thinking of voicing a consolation, but the half-month effect of the medicine hasn't faded, and I still cannot make a sound. I can only say that I will hug her even tighter. Not far away, Wang Shuero was surrounded by servants and maidservants, stepping slowly toward me, then looking down on me from a superior height. Mute. Do you perhaps still want to be the empress? She curled her lips into a smile, and irony gleamed in her eyes. The position of top scholar's wife is something only I deserve. I'm willing to grant. You a concubine as a reward, that is my mercy. Unable to speak aloud, my thoughts are more nimble than others. Thus, Wang Shuoro spoke only a few words. I suddenly realized that she and Li Mubai might have had an appointment long ago. Even more, Li Mubai had already returned to Jiangnan at this moment. He just didn't dare to see me. I picked up my younger sister, unwilling to argue with Wang Shuoro, and turned to head home. If Li Mubai is determined to deceive me, then that person is not worthy of my love. Did I allow you to leave? Wang Shuoro suddenly reached out her hand. She seized her younger sister's injured arm, and her sister screamed in pain, waving her hands wildly. She ended up slapping Wang Shuoro right across the face. You wretched girl, how dare you hit me? I'll beat you to death. Wang Shuoro covered her face and screamed. She raised her hand to strike the younger girl, so I quickly reached out to stop her. The younger girl, caught in between, accidentally pulled out a handful of her hair as well. Wang Shuoro looked at her younger sister's black hair and instantly her eyes turned red. Suwanking, I will tell my father. I will make him lock all of you up in jail. As soon as she finished speaking, 2 servants hurriedly turned and left. As for the others, they surrounded my family tightly, afraid I would run away with my younger sister. The prefectural governor arrived very quickly, along with Li Mubai. As soon as he saw me, he wore a worried look. Wanqing, are you all right? I was the one who was injured. Wang Shuoro was quite dissatisfied. Brother Li, what you should care about is me. Li Mubai didn't say a word, he just pursed his lips and fixed his gaze on me. Wang Shuoro, seeing this, directly threw herself into the Taisho's arms. Father, the Su family sisters are bullying me. Could you put them in the big prison? Taisho, no. Li Mubai quickly spoke up to stop him. Why not? Wang Shuoro asked, her eyes red with grievance. They bullied me. Don't they deserve to be punished? The prefect nodded as well and cast a sidelong glance at Li Mubai. My daughter is as delicate as a flower. Anyone who dares to bully her must pay the corresponding price. Li Mubai, you may be the top scholar in the new imperial examination, but you'd better think it through. Without the support of my brother, the Vice Minister of Revenue, do you really think you can thrive in officialdom? Having said that, the prefect roared at his subordinates. Hurry up and lock them in the prison. I don't want to be locked up. I don't want to. My little sister is only 5 years old. Terrified, clinging to my bosom and crying non-stop. Originally, I wasn't afraid of the governor, only because I came to Jiangnan. My father couldn't accompany me, but he sent his most formidable covert guards to protect me and my sister. But yesterday, the dark guard suddenly vanished without a trace. No matter how I whistled, he didn't jump down from the familiar beam, so I could only send a message to my father by dove. As for a reply, the earliest it could be delivered would be tomorrow, and the court's little servants and manpower I only bought after arriving in Jiangnan. They dare not offend the prefect. I wouldn't dare to risk my life for me and my little sister. With no other choice, I could only place my hope in Li Mubai. I gestured to him repeatedly. My little sister is only 5. She can't bear the suffering of the dungeon. For the sake of our past friendship, please save her, won't you? He had already become the top scholar. As long as he insisted, the prefect would surely grant him this favor. But Li Mubai remained silent all along. He just watched helplessly as my little sister and I were taken away. Wait, Li Mubai suddenly spoke, then rushed to my side. I thought he was going to save me. If nothing else, just saving my younger sister, I would still be grateful. But he only said, Wanking, in the end you were the ones who hurt Shuoro first. I may want to help, but I don't have a valid reason. But don't worry, I will rescue you all soon. Scammer, liar, my younger sister sobbed and lifted her head from my chest. She glared at Li Mubai. You're cowardly, you don't dare offend him, and you don't dare save me and my sister. One sentence made Li Mubai's face turn deathly pale, but that was all there was to it. 03 The cell was dark and chilly, with dark green moss covering the surrounding walls. A heavy rain had fallen just a few days earlier. As a result, a great deal of filthy, murky water had pooled on the ground, mingled with bloodstains. The stench of mold mixed with the smell of fish and blood. The younger sister covered her nose, but she still couldn't stop dry heaving. Although it is already March now, but the late cold was still severe, mixing with the dungeon's chill, freezing people to shivers. the younger sister curled up in my arms, cold to the bone. She was young and could not endure this kind of suffering, coughing non-stop for a long time, and there were faint signs of fever, not to mention mice freely prowling in the corner I held my younger sister tightly, eyes closed, not daring to look, but the mice still crawled onto my lap. I shrieked in fear, but due to the medicine, my throat ached as if being ripped apart. The younger sister cried loudly in fear, "Li Mubai is so bad, Wang Zuiro is bad too. I want to tell father, let father avenge us." "Ah, elder sister, such a big rat. I am so scared, run quickly, bad rat, don't bite my elder sister." We were unable to sleep all night, and the younger sister cried in my arms for so long that she eventually grew exhausted and fell into a deep sleep. I dare not put her on the ground. Wang Shuoro intended to torment me, so she deliberately chose the worst cell, one without any dry straw or rotten mats on the floor, only the icy cold, waterlogged muddy ground. One cannot sleep there, or else one will fall ill. I don't know how long had passed when a faint light gradually seeped through the narrow window. By then, I was almost frozen stiff. The sound of footsteps grew louder. Distant at first and then nearby. I raised my head extremely slowly and saw Li Mubai rushing over in a hurry. There was still a strong smell of alcohol on him. "Wanqing, are you all right?" Li Mubai immediately had the jailer open the cell door, then rushed in to try to help me. I dodged his hand, gritted my teeth to hold my younger sister properly, and then hobbled out of the cell. "Last night, someone threw a dog into the dungeon. The puppy was wearing clothes, and the fabric was identical to the fabric of the clothes Wang Shuoro wore, proving it was her beloved dog. That dog lunged at me and tried to bite my little sister. I originally wanted to kick it away, but the little dog clamped onto my ankle and stubbornly ripped off a piece of flesh. It hurts, and the pain still gnaws at me to this day." Li Mubai followed me, his brows slightly furrowed, looking quite helpless. "Wanqing, what trouble are you causing me? If last night I hadn't stayed drinking with Wang Shuoro for half the night, how could she have loosened her tongue so easily and said that she'll only deal with you for one night and be done?" At this moment I am holding my younger sister in my arms. Gesturing is very difficult. I said, "My sister is right, you could clearly save us, yet you refuse to offend the prefect. We are not casual acquaintances, but betrothed in lifelong engagement." But once he gained power, he became even more timid than before and, afraid of offending the prefect, allowed us to be bullied by him. With such behavior, once he truly enters officialdom, he will only be a corrupt official who goes with the flow. Li Mubai lowered his eyes, a flicker of guilt flashing beneath them. "That's not it." He shook his head. It's just that I'm about to become a capital official, and I can't afford to antagonize the prefect too much. After all, we'll be serving in the same court, and his elder brother is still the vice minister of revenue." In the end, I still dared not offend Suwenking. Li Mubai stepped forward several paces, then turned and blocked my path. His eyes filled with pain. "I really have no choice. The imperial decree forbids a high official from marrying a woman with an illness, and it's not that I don't want to keep my promise. I thought, since you cannot become my wife, I will find you a gentle and easy to speak to proper wife. Wang Shuoro is indeed willful, but as long as you are obedient, she won't trouble you. In the future, with wife and concubines living in harmony, your days will be better. Isn't that so?" My younger sister in my arms woke up at some point. She still clutched a lump of mud in her hand. Just as Li Mubai finished speaking, she threw the mud at his face. "Bah, shameless. My elder sister would never take you as a concubine. If not as my concubine, then as what?" Within that lump of mud, there was a mixture of blood, a fishy stench, and a foul odor. Li Mubai frowned, unable to resist the urge to vomit. "Even this tone has become somewhat impatient," he added. "Your sister can't speak for herself. Besides me, who would be willing to marry her? There are plenty of people who want to marry my sister, and they are 1,000 or 10,000 times better than you." My little sister was very indignant. She is the closest to me and cannot stand hearing anyone speak ill of me. I reached out and gently patted my little sister on the back, then I held her close and continued walking outside. Having spent a night in the cell, I needed to hurry and find a doctor to check on my little sister. I really don't have the time to keep tangling with Li Mubai any longer. Li Mubai didn't follow any further, just stood where he was. He said loudly, "I'm setting off this afternoon to take up an official post in the capital. I won't be coming back to Jiangnan again. Su Wanqing, if you make up your mind, come find me in the capital, I will protect you." I didn't pause and soon walked out of the prison, but before I could carry my little sister all the way home, I bumped right into Chen Feng, who was rushing from the city gate. He is Zhao Mingxuan's dark guard. That secret letter last year was personally delivered to me by Chen Feng. As soon as he saw me, Chen Feng spoke up immediately. "Miss Su, your father is gravely ill and in danger. The master has commanded me to fetch you and the second miss back to the capital at once." 04 I did not dare delay, immediately lifting my younger sister onto the carriage. I also mentioned the missing undercover guard. Chen Feng explained, "The capital originally sent a carrier pigeon with the news of Prime Minister Su's severe illness, instructing him to bring you and the second young lady back to the capital quickly. But unexpectedly, he was ambushed and remains unconscious. I happened to be in a nearby prefecture, so the master sent me a pigeon message, asking me to bring you back to the capital without delay." So that was it. No wonder the secret guard had disappeared. Chen Feng even offered to drive the carriage for us himself, but my sister and I had just been released from the government office's jail. Our hair was disheveled, and our clothes were still damp. The younger sister was showing signs of a slight fever. Chen Feng, skilled in medicine, personally checked her pulse and fed her a pill. They said a good sleep would restore her. As for me, my legs and feet were bitten until they bled. Chen Feng also applied the medicine for me. "Miss Su, how did you and the second miss end up in such a sorry state?" After applying the medicine, Chen Feng couldn't help but ask. I just shook my head. "He is that one's dark guard. If I tell the truth, that person will surely learn of it. But that person has ascended the throne as emperor. Though we were acquainted in youth, now there is a separation between lord and subject. Some trivial matters are not worth troubling the other. If I may speak a private thought, youthful friendship is best used at crucial moments, but I dare not waste it lightly." Chen Feng sighed, as if sensing what was in my mind, "Not to mention the young friendship between you and the master, but considering that the master has always respected Lord Su, if you and the second miss suffer any grievance in Jiangnan, just tell me, and the master will surely help you seek justice." I still shake my head. In the Jiangnan region, the reason I was bullied by Wang Shuoro is because the secret guards were not present, but when I return to the capital, even if Li Mubai is the new top scholar, in my eyes he is not worth looking at. Therefore, there is truly no need to trouble that person to take action. Chen Feng no longer insisted. After seeing to the illnesses of my younger sister and me in turn, he stepped out of the carriage and sat on its outer edge, driving alongside the coachman. From the south of the Yangtze River to the capital, whether rushing or taking it easy, it took nearly more than 20 days to finally nearly reach the capital. When they arrived at the nearest post station to the capital, it was noon. The younger sister is still young and has been on the road for several days, and at this moment she feels a bit unwell. Chen Feng suggested resting here for a while. The capital is treacherous and full of intrigue. If my father's political enemies found out that I had brought my younger sister back to the capital, there would surely be more ambushes. So Chen Feng went ahead to scout the route. After ensuring it was safe, he would take the small path back, drive the carriage, and bring us to the capital. Watched Chen Feng leave. Then I took my little sister into the relay station, fed her a bit, and rested for a while. But I never expected to run into Li Mubai here. 05 Why are you here? Li Mubai walked into the relay station. The moment he saw me and my younger sister, shock filled his eyes. Then he quickly strode forward. "Wanqing, I did say you could come to the capital to seek me out, but you've arrived far too early. I haven't even settled down in the capital yet." After speaking, Li Mubai glanced sideways behind him and lowered his voice again. "Besides, Shuoro would be unhappy." As his voice faded, Wang Shuoro walked into the relay station surrounded by 3 or 5 maids and elderly servants. The moment she saw me, she frowned. "Su Wenqing, you really are lingering like a vengeful spirit. Knowing Li Mubai is going to the capital to take an official position, you actually came to the capital before us. Do you just want to be the wife of a top examiner?" Zhuang Yuan, Wang Shuoro's voice was very Soft, yet full of irritable sarcasm, she reached out and gently traced her finger along her own throat. But you, a mute woman, can at most be a concubine, and it would be my great mercy to grant you that. Understand, I watch her quietly. With half a month still remaining, I still cannot speak. She cannot understand my gestures either. Talking more is useless, not to mention that Chen Feng is not here at the moment, and she is powerful and influential. Even if it's for my younger sister, I must swallow this breath first. But Wang Shuoro clearly doesn't intend to let me off. She walked over to Li Mubai with a smile. Li Gage, back then you promised me that if I married you, you would never let anyone bully me. Even if you fall for Su Wanqing, you can only be a concubine. You must not go beyond me. Do you remember? Li Mubai pressed his lips together. He didn't dare look at me, and he only gently nodded at Wang Shuoro. Don't worry, you're the main wife. No one can go beyond you. Wang Shuoro raised an eyebrow upon hearing that. She sat down quickly, then reached out and tapped the teacup beside her, after which she looked at me again. Since you're a concubine, you must have the attitude of a concubine. After she finished speaking, the old nanny on the side spoke harshly. Su Wanqing, my young lady is teaching you manners. In the future, my young lady will be the wife of a top scholar. You are only the concubine of the top scholar. A concubine must always show respect to the mistress and kneel to serve. My young lady is kind-hearted, so she lets you learn the rules in advance, how to kneel and offer tea to the mistress. Shuoro, we haven't even married yet. Isn't it a bit premature? Not premature. Don't you want to marry her soon? Wang Shuoro quickly interrupted Li Muba's words. She smiled at me, but her eyes were cold. Su Wanqing, if you become a concubine, you must behave like one. Understand? Li Mubai was silent for a moment. After a while, he walked over to my side and spoke softly. Wanqing, for us to be together sooner, you should go kowtow to Shuoro and offer tea. If she accepts you, once you reach the capital, you'll be my legally recognized concubine, and we won't have to be apart in the future. Li Mubai, you big bad guy, my sister will never be your concubine, you delusional fool. Little younger sister grabbed the teacup on the table and smashed it on him. She glared at Wang Shuoro again. And you wicked woman, so what if you look pretty? Your heart is as black as mud under my foot. Don't think I can't see through you. You just want to bully my elder sister, want my elder sister to kneel for you. Do you deserve it? The younger sister is naive and romantic, not yet understanding how people really work, only knows how to vent her feelings outright. If I dislike something, I can't stand it even for a moment. Li Mubai's expression darkened slightly. He furrowed his brows lightly, his eyes filled with displeasure. Wanqing, your younger sister really needs to be properly disciplined. Wang Shuoro, suppressing her own anger, spoke with biting sarcasm. Isn't that right? After all, you're about to become someone's concubine. Your little sister is utterly ill-mannered. In the future, it will fall to me, the head wife of this household, to discipline this wretched girl for you. Otherwise, if she grows up so ignorant of proper conduct and ends up as someone's concubine under a mistress with a bad temper, she'll be beaten to death. I am patient and inclined to endure, but when the times are not right, they will scold me to my face. I can force myself to swallow this anger first. It's not that there's no retribution, just that the time hasn't come. Sooner or later, I will repay it 100 or 1,000 times over. But when it involves my younger sister, I can hardly bear it. I looked at Li Mubai and gestured at him. I will not be your concubine. Today, and not in the future. And my younger sister is innocent and romantic. You have no need to discipline her. I thought I had made my words so clear that Li Mubai would understand, but I overestimated him. Not only does he not understand, he frowns and says, Wanqing, I told you earlier that you would come to the capital to become an official, and you rushed here by carriage the moment after. Are you trying to be with me all the time? Now you say these hurtful words, but it's nothing more than taking advantage of my love for you, knowing I would never be at ease if you left, and that I would take good care of you, so I act without scruples. But Wanqing, the capital is not the Jiangnan region. Rules and appearances are everywhere. I may love you deeply, but you must understand the rules. You must be respectful to me, and respectful to Shuiru. Understand? The younger sister couldn't help but roll her eyes, counting on her fingers. She slowly uttered 4 words, casting pearls before swine. Li Mubai's face turned even darker. Wanqing, Su Xiaotang is still young and naughty. Once we settle in the capital, hand her over to Shuoro for discipline. It's time she learned some manners. Who do you think you are, trying to control me? Back then, I thought you were going to marry my elder sister, so I owed you the courtesy of calling you future brother-in-law. But now, you've broken your word and want my sister to be a concubine. A man like you, not only does my sister despise you, just looking at you makes me sick. Her younger sister immediately shot back. Unyielding, Li Mubai's hands trembled with rage, but after all, she was only a 5-year-old girl. To lay a hand on her in front of everyone would truly be beneath his dignity. Wang Shuoro saw the situation and hurriedly comforted them softly. Brother Li, rest assured, once we enter the capital, I will discipline this stubborn girl well, and make her see you bowing respectfully. It's just that. Wang Shuoro paused, and suddenly her tone shifted, only that her elder sister has not yet made her kowtow and toast tea to me. This concubine status still isn't legitimate or proper. At this, Li Mubai frowned and looked at me. Wanqing, don't be absurd, hurry up and kowtow to Shuoro and serve her tea, then you will be my legitimate honored concubine, and I will be able to protect you. Do you understand? Being mute was truly difficult. I couldn't even voice a single curse. All I could do was gesture frantically with both hands. Li Mubai simply averted his gaze, pretending not to see, which was enough to make my blood boil, so I just picked up my younger sister and stood up, not wanting to deal with the two of them anymore. But the maid beside Wang Shuoro blocked me. Aunt Su, you'd better kneel down and kowtow to offer tea. Don't imitate those petty people, not knowing proper manners. There were 3 or 5 maids and elderly ladies around her, and I was still holding a child in my arms. Li Mubai stood by, watching coldly, even added, Wang Qing, I'm doing this for your own good as well. You'd better hurry to kneel and offer tea. I ignored it and tried to leave, but Wang Shuoro's maid suddenly reached out and grabbed my hair. Another old woman kicked my calf with 1 foot. I already had an injury on my leg, and this past half-month it hasn't recovered. My foot suddenly gave way, and my knees slammed hard onto the ground, causing intense pain. Sis, the younger sister's eyes reddened, and she immediately reached out to strike that old woman. The old woman sneered. He raised his foot to kick my little sister at once. I was filled with horror, but I could only scream, then quickly protect my little sister in my arms. If I couldn't dodge, I could only take this blow for my little sister. The anticipated pain never came. Instead, I heard the old woman's piercing scream. When I opened my eyes again, Chen Feng, who had returned from scouting ahead, kicked the old woman to the ground. Then, using his scabbard, he struck down all the maidservants beside Wang Shuoro. Wang Shuoro, pale with fright, stammered, Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? Do you know that my uncle is Before she could introduce herself, Chen Feng kicked her leg, and Wang Shuoro fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Chen Feng sneered, I don't care who your family is, how mighty can they be? How dare you bully Miss Su and the second Miss Su? It seems you're tired of keeping your heads. After speaking, he turned again and looked at Li Mubai. And you as well, if I remember correctly, you should be this year's new top scholar. Now that you know I am this year's top scholar, you should understand that I hold the Emperor's favor. Yet you dare to injure my fiancé in full view of everyone. Are you tired of living? Chen Feng let out a cold laugh, his gaze falling on my face. Miss Su, were the injuries on you and your younger sister also inflicted by them? I didn't want him to know about this, to the point where it pierced what was before their eyes. He could only nod. Chen Feng's gaze suddenly turned icy. Champion scholar, you may have some literary talent, but do you think you can claim the top position because of that? You still don't understand how to cherish it. In this officialdom, you are destined not to advance. After speaking, Chen Feng asked again, Miss Su, how would you have me deal with them? I thought for a moment before I had a chance to speak. My little sister shouted loudly, lock them in the cell for a night, put in lots of mice and fleas, and also release a dog, let it bite them hard, and make them kneel. Chen Feng nodded, then blew a whistle, and more than a dozen people in black lined up and descended. Everyone. Did you hear Miss Sua's words clearly? Moreover, Li Mubai and Wang Shuoro didn't even have a chance to speak before being knocked unconscious by the men in black one after another, then shouldered away, vanishing without a trace. The younger sister asked curiously, "Where did they go?" Chen Feng smiled. "The master has a dungeon specifically used for housing criminals who commit great atrocities. Did they not bully you and your sister? I'll have someone send them over there." The younger sister's eyes immediately brightened. Awesome. 06. Although there was this little interlude, it didn't actually take long. Soon, my younger sister and I arrived in Beijing, returning to the home I had been away from for 3 years. But unlike before, when I was still at home 3 years ago, the house was always very lively. Dad was worried that I would feel down because of my muteness, so he racked his brains to cheer me up. Various troops and juggling groups constantly come and go through the Prime Minister's residence, until I later heard that there was a divine doctor in Jiangnan. But the divine doctor has a peculiar temperament. He once said that in this life he would never enter the capital. If one wants to seek his medical help, they must take the initiative to seek him out. Father had originally wanted to accompany me, but he is the Prime Minister. There are countless matters of state more important than me under heaven. Personal feelings between a father and child should not take precedence over them. So I went to Jiangnan alone. Xiaomai, an orphan girl I happened to save while in Jiangnan, was only 2 years old at the time. I wrote to father, begging him to adopt Xiaomai as his honorary daughter. From then on, she became Su Xiaotang, the second young lady of the Prime Minister's estate. I have companionship now, 3 years in Jiangnan. These days are no longer that hard now. I return to the capital with my younger sister. After this, I will not set out again. Father has spent his life worrying for the country, not yet 50, but already with a head full of white hair. Now life hangs by a thread, just to wait for me and my younger sister to return. In front of the sick bed, father looks even older than 3 years ago, his face lacking any trace of color. I lead my younger sister to the front of the sick bed at this moment. Exactly 30 days have passed since I took that miraculous remedy. I tentatively called out, "Father." Father had been keeping his eyes tightly shut. Upon hearing this voice, his eyes miraculously opened. I immediately held my younger sister's hand and knelt by the bed, tightly holding father's hand. Father looked at me, tears in his eyes, and couldn't help but say, my Wanqing has returned. Father, your daughter has been unfilial." My voice also choked with emotion. In the past, all I wanted was to return to normal and speak like everyone else, completely forgotten that father is getting older. As children, we should stay by father's side first to honor him. Father gently shook his head, then reached out to touch my face, speaking softly, "Wanqing, I am greatly comforted that you can speak again. Do not be sad for me. All living beings must die. In my life I have devoted myself to the people and the nation. I am free of guilt in my heart, but I owe you more than anyone. I hoped to wait for you to return from the south to make amends, but I did not expect that my body would not be able to endure it." Daddy's tear ducts glistened with a line of murky tears, yet he was reluctant to hold my hand. "Young Miss Wanqing, if one day I'm no longer around, how will you, a daughter alone in this vast capital, get by?" So, even though father was gravely ill, he still refused to close his eyes, only because our Su family had produced only a single successor for generations. To my father's generation, the bond with my mother was deep and the oath of righteousness strong, and I was the only daughter he had. After my mother passed away, my father refused to take a concubine. There are no other cousins in the clan. From then on, the Su family was left with only me and my younger sister by my side. Father's official career is sprawling across the political arena. His life, although he has a virtuous reputation, he inevitably has enemies, and after father passes away, these enemies may retaliate against us sisters. Therefore, father is reluctant to close his eyes for a long time. He is worried about me. I held my father's hand and silently apologized to that person in my heart. Then I said, "Father, you must not worry about me. That person has sent someone to escort me back to the capital, and has given a solemn promise that he will protect me and ensure my well-being for life. No demon or monster, no matter where it comes from, will ever harm me. Father, rest assured." No one can bully me, the emperor. The emperor's solemn promise, if that is so, then this old man can rest easy. My father let out a long, relieved sigh, then he closed his eyes and never woke up again. Daddy, I cried out in tears. I felt a whirl of dizziness, then everything went black in front of my eyes, and I fainted. 07. When I woke up again, I found myself lying on the bed. The layout and furnishings around me felt very familiar. This was my private chamber not far away. A familiar figure stood with his hands behind his back. But I recognized him at a glance. Your Majesty, my voice was very soft. Upon hearing the voice, Zhao Mingxian immediately turned and walked to the bedside, then helped me sit up. Wanqing, my deepest condolences. He looked at me, his eyes filled with the same lingering sorrow. When I was still young, he was indeed my father's student. At that time he did not enjoy the favor of the former emperor and lived a life far worse than mine. The Prime Minister's daughter, I couldn't bear to see him suffer. So every time I entered the palace I brought him many tasty pastries. Over time, we became close friends. Back then I couldn't speak, and many noble young ladies from prominent families mocked me, saying I would spend this life as a spinster at home, then I could only be a concubine after all. The laws of the dynasty were like this: even if I were the Prime Minister's daughter, as long as I couldn't utter a word, I would be considered disabled. Then I would not be able to be the wife of a court official. I was very sad about this and felt that I was different from ordinary people. Zhao Mingxian comforted me. He said, Wanqing, when one day I hold great power and become the master of this world, I will abolish this iron rule for you. At that time I did not harbor much hope. After all, who the former emperor wished to entrust the throne to is not something us courtiers can discuss. Even if he was a prince, speaking lightly about it could bring about a mortal danger. Until I went to the Jiangnan region, the late emperor was critically ill, and no one had expected that this unappreciated seventh prince would actually become the next sovereign. His first act after ascending the throne was to abolish this law. At that time, my heart was filled with indescribable gratitude. It seemed that the bonds of youth still carried some weight in this emperor's heart. It's just that I might have to be a bit greedier. So I pulled back the covers, got off the bed, and then knelt in front of Zhao Mingxian. He hurriedly reached out to help me up. I asked him, before my father's death, he never stopped worrying about me and my younger sister. So I used Your Majesty's name, saying I would protect my sister for life. Could Your Majesty, on the basis of our youthful affection, watch over my sister for life? The capital is full of turmoil, my father has many enemies, and inevitably someone will target us sisters. The only thing I care about now is my younger sister. As long as she is well, I will be at ease. Zhao Mingxian understood what I meant. He nodded, then took out a royal edict from his sleeve that had long been prepared. On the edict, it was the decree to ennoble my younger sister as Lady of Pingle, the imperial prince consort of Pinglexian princess. Even without the protection of her maternal clan, is not something just anyone can easily harm. Wanqing, why don't you ask for something for yourself? I shook my head with a smile. Asking for the little sister is asking for myself, but one should not be too greedy. It would be enough if the Su family had a princess. Zhao Mingxuan's eyes carried complex feelings. Then he said, in 3 years in Jiangnan, I also had people inquire about your news. I heard you there met a scholar and fixed a lifelong bond with him. He has good literary talent and ranked among the top 3. I personally conferred upon him the title of Zhuangyuan, and planned to grant him high official rank and wealth. After you two marry, your days will no longer be hard. He paused and did not continue talking. No one expected that he had changed his mind, thinking I was a mute girl not worthy of his top scholar status. He even gave me a concubine's position as if out of charity, which is ridiculous to think I ever cared for such a person. After speaking, I couldn't help but mockingly smile at myself. Zhao Mingxuan's expression was inscrutable, only said, fortunately, I cut losses in time. It's not too late. 08 When Dad passed away, a mourning hall was set up at home, and many people came to pay their respects. Among them were quite a few of Dad's students over the years. There are also those who are intent on becoming officials in the court, fellows who were once close friends with my father. Zhao Mingxian says I am physically weak. I fear I cannot cope with these matters, so he personally decreed, sending people to come and handle this matter for me to further show the majesty of the Emperor's grace. Zhao Mingxian personally came to my father's spirit hall to burn incense. As a result, more and more people came to our home to pay respects to my father. When there are many people, accidents easily happen. For example, Li Mubai took the path of the Deputy Minister of Revenue, and came to my house to mourn my father as well. At that time, my younger sister was crying incessantly from a fever. I had just calmed her down and coaxed her to finish her medicine, then watched her fall asleep with my own eyes, intending to continue to the memorial hall. But unexpectedly I ran into Li Mubai on the way. Seeing me in full mourning attire with a frown between his brows, before I could speak he said, "Wanqing, why are you in the Chancellor's mansion? Could the man who saved you that day be a guard here? When did you start seeing him behind my back?" "Wanqing, I am the newly crowned top scholar, a minister close to the Son of Heaven. It is only a matter of time before I am enfeoffed as a marquis and appointed chancellor. Becoming my noble concubine, wouldn't that be better than being the wife of a mere guard?" I had wanted to curse at him, but with my father's sudden death, grief overwhelmed me, and to make matters worse, I could barely speak. The imperial physician said that I would need another 10 or more days to recover, so I could only gesture to him. "I've already made it clear to you. Go marry your Wang Shuero. Whether as wife or concubine has nothing to do with me. The bond between us is broken. I cannot be your wife, and I will never be your concubine. Li Mubai, can't we part on good terms? Why must you keep pestering me, draining the last remnants of affection between us?" Li Mubai shook his head. "I never wanted to part with you, Wanqing. I truly do like you, but you are a mute girl who cannot speak. I cannot marry you, there's no helping it. Marrying Wang Shuero was my way of believing I could protect you. Noble daughters in the capital are often vicious. At worst, Wang Shuero is a bit willful. But she would never do anything to cost you your life. Wanqing, I have gone to such pains to plan all this for you. Are you really not the least bit moved?" I really wasn't touched, not like Li Mubai, almost moved me to tears. Therefore, I turned around to leave, but he held my hand. "Wanqing, you must cut ties with that guard immediately. I can pretend I know nothing. Since I truly loved you so sadly, today you come back with me, and we will not separate again. Miss, should I bring the second young Mrs. Medicine over now?" Not far away, a maid came over, holding my younger sister's medicine, which the imperial physician had expressly ordered that she must drink. I nodded and wanted to follow to my sister's room. Li Mubai pulled my hand even tighter. "Wanqing, why does she call you miss?" Li Mubai was filled with disbelief, and the maid's eyes also flashed with a trace of inexplicable emotion. Then she carried the medicine to Li Mubai. "She is the young miss of the Swan Mansion. This young master, please show some respect." I pulled my hand out forcefully, not wanting to pay him any mind. Li Mubai kept nagging. "Wang Qing, you are the eldest daughter of the Chancellor's household. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you hide it from me? I don't understand." He gestured and said, "How should I tell you? What if I don't tell you? When we first met, would you have valued me more because I am a prime minister's daughter? If that's the case, then I'm obviously blind, have misread people, and somehow became friends with someone like you." Not far away, Wang Shuero also walked over. She seemed to have overheard our exchange. Jealousy flashing in her eyes could not be concealed. "She's the eldest daughter of the Prime Minister's residence anyway. Now the Prime Minister is dead, and whether there are any males left in the household, the Su family has fallen from grace. It's something everyone knows in their hearts. Li Mubai, you better think this through." Wang Shuero half threatened, half manipulated, while Li Mubai still stared stubbornly at me. "Evening, I have never cared what your identity is. I only know that my heart takes a liking to you, but strict rules are hard to change. You are a mute girl, destined not to become the wife of the Beijing official's household. I know you feel aggrieved, but rest assured, even as a concubine, the treatment I give you will be no different from that of the legitimate wife, as long as you're willing to stay by my side properly." "Okay." I gently shake my head, then raise my hand and give him a hard slap. "No, not at all good." 09 After learning my true identity, Li Mubai came to my door again and again, but I had people turn him away each time. After Zhao Mingxian learned of it, He sent someone to deliver a letter to me. The letter contained only a few words: "Don't worry. I will speak for you." And on the third day after delivering this letter, the emperor held a banquet, inviting ministers of the court and their families to the palace for the feast, and the newly graduated Zhuang Yuan was among them. Wang Shuoro originally could not come. This emperor specially issued an edict, listing her name, granting such honor and favor. So even though she is merely the daughter of the governor of Jiangnan here in the capital, I can only barely be counted as an ordinary official's daughter. But with the emperor's decree and words, other noble families' daughters dare not be trifled with at the banquet. The emperor has not yet arrived. The ladies of officials' wives talk among themselves. The young ladies also gather in small groups, chatting and laughing together. I have been mute since childhood, unable to speak, compounded by the iron rule back then. Everyone knew I could never marry into a distinguished family. Naturally, no one had any interest in befriending me, let alone after my father passed away. In the aristocratic circles of the capital, where interests sustain all connections, I no longer held any value. Thus, no young lady from any noble household bothered with me. My younger sister is still young, so I did not bring her to the banquet. I sat alone at my seat. Yet Wang Shuoro still wouldn't let me off, standing with a few noble ladies of prominent families. Several of them drew near to whisper, and then another group came up to me. A light, teasing laugh sounded. "What of the chancellor's daughter? She is a mute." "So what? Even if she were not, her father has passed away. Even if there once was glory, it was only a fleeting cloud, with no maternal clan influence left. Which of the capital's great families would want to marry her? If she truly must lower herself to marry, she can only become a concubine." The Lady Wang, daughter of the Wang family, who is an enemy of my father, couldn't stop laughing upon hearing this. "Concubine? That really is quite lowly. Wang Shuoro intends to befriend her, and she hurriedly belittles me. Who says otherwise? She spent 3 years in Jiangnan, and shamelessly flirted with a newly minted top scholar, clearly hoping to become a top scholar's wife. But people only want to take her as a concubine. What of a concubine's status? In the end, she's nothing respectable," Miss Wang exclaimed. "Everyone says you went to Jiangnan for 3 years to cure your illness, Su Wanqing. But I never thought you went to find a man." She spoke quite loudly, drawing glances from the crowd. Li Mubai also looked over. "Shuero, why must you speak so harshly?" "What do you mean by speak harshly?" Wang Shuero, very displeased, pouted her lips and gestured for Li Mubai to look at the Deputy Minister of Revenue not far away. "Listen to what my uncle said. The Minister of Revenue is aging and has resigned. His Majesty intends to promote him to the position of minister, and in the future I will be the young miss of the minister's family." "Li Mubai, you'd better think this through before you speak to me." Li Mubai's face showed restraint, as he bit his lip hard and took a long time before turning to stand in front of me, lowering his voice. "Evening Qing, you must endure a little longer and apologize to Shueru. When I am granted Marquis and Prime Minister in the future, I will surely make her regret this. It's just that there is a powerful uncle. If I hold great power one day, I will make them kneel before me and beg me. Then, even if knives fall from the sky, I will give you the position of legitimate wife, as long as you endure a little longer for me." This talk seems affectionate, but in fact it is nauseating. I grabbed the wineglass from the table and hurled it fiercely at Li Mubai. He retreated several steps in disarray. Wang Shuoro's face changed dramatically. "Su Wanqing, you actually dare to bully Brother Li? I'll make sure to kill you. I'll see who dares to attack Wanqing." Not far away, Emperor Zhao Mingxian, clad in the 5-clawed golden dragon, was walking slowly toward them. Wherever the emperor went, everyone had to kneel and kowtow. If he did not bid them to rise, all had to remain kneeling, even if their knees were worn raw. They could not break protocol. Zhao Mingxian slowly walked over to me. He reached out both hands and helped me up with his own in front of everyone. "Wanqing, are these the ones who bullied you?" Zhao Mingxian looked at me gently, while Wang Shuoro and Li Mubai, still kneeling on the ground, turned pale with fear. Li Mubai immediately spoke up. "Your Majesty, I have long been engaged to Wanqing." "Engagement?" Zhao Mingxian cut him off without a second thought, and let out a soft chuckle. "As for an engagement, The chancellor himself personally told me that he was willing to have his daughter marry me. Hearing that, I couldn't help but be taken aback, staring intently at Zhao Mingxian before me. He was looking back at me as well. Wanqing, I thought you understood the bond of our youthful affection. But you were too young then. I had planned to wait until you returned from Jiangnan to speak of these matters. Who would have thought that during your time in Jiangnan, you would encounter someone unworthy? Fortunately, it is not too late. Now, are you willing to fulfill our engagement, marry me as your wife, and become the mistress of this realm? Before I could answer, Wang Shuoro quickly interjected, Your Majesty, the dignity of the imperial family must not be compromised. How could the future empress be a mute? Zhao Mingxian sneered. I recall that when I first ascended the throne, I had already abolished that law. As soon as he said this, Li Mubai immediately looked up at me, his expression flustered. Wanqing, I didn't mean to deceive you. Before he could finish explaining, Zhao Mingxian kicked him hard in the chest. Shut up, you ungrateful and heartless man. How could I have been so blind as to personally name you the top scholar in the imperial examination? Wang Shuoro continued kowtowing. Even if this law no longer exists, the whole world is watching. Your Majesty, how can you allow a mute woman to be the empress? I deeply cherish Wanqing, whether she is mute or not, she can still be my empress. Moreover, Zhao Mingxian was silent for a moment, then turned his gaze to me. I gently nodded. After these past few days of rest, I was able to speak again, so I said, Moreover, I am no longer a mute girl. Upon hearing this, Li Mubai, who was kneeling on the ground, changed color and looked at me in disbelief. Wanqing, you can speak now. As early as when you went to the capital to take the imperial examination, I had already found a divine doctor. At that time I had already recovered. I also know that the emperor has long issued an edict, and even a mute girl can be a legitimate wife. Li Mubai, you detest my lowly status and that I cannot speak, so you lied to me, yet you would not let me go. Instead you treated me like a concubine as a form of charitable act. Li Mubai, with such calculating schemes, can you truly fulfill what you said back then, establishing a destiny for heaven and earth, and bring peace to the people? Naturally, that is impossible. Zhao Mingxian cut him off. If you can't even protect those you love, you dare to cling to the powerful. Later, when you become a high official, you will only become a corrupt one. If that's the case, then it is better to sever ties with the officialdom forever. Emperor's majestic words. With this one sentence, Li Mubai will never be able to hold an official position in this life. As for Wang Shuoro, Zhao Mingxian said coldly, I have investigated thoroughly. Wang Demao, the governor of Jiangnan, allowed his daughter to commit violence and bully others. He even once harmed my empress. Such heinous behavior makes him unworthy of office. Since he once abused his power, his entire family shall be sent to Ninggu Tower to serve as slaves for the rest of their lives. Your Majesty. Wang Shuoro rolled her eyes back and fainted on the spot. 11 When the palace banquet ended, Zhao Mingxian asked me to stay behind alone. Today I speak with my true heart. I have never forgotten the bond of youth, but at that time my father the emperor was still alive. I could not be sure I could win, so I kept this sentiment hidden in my heart. Later I became an emperor, and you found your beloved, so I wished you happiness. But he is not good. With him you cannot have happiness. Wanqing, would you be willing to trust me once, become my empress, and walk hand in hand with me to behold the splendid rivers and mountains? After speaking, he handed me another blank edict, stamped with a jade seal. I know your worries, so I give this to you. If one day I do something to hurt you, with this edict you can be protected for life without worry. Whether you choose to stay or leave, I cannot stop you. With such sincerity, I have no reason to hesitate. It's only the position of an empress for a single dynasty. I, Su Wanqing, am more than worthy of it. 12 Li Mubai was stripped of his title of top scholar by imperial decree and should have hurried back home, but Wang Shuoro produced the marriage parchment of the two of them. Thus, they could only be exiled together to Nurgut to be slaves and servants. All are fate. As for me, on a bright spring day, wearing a phoenix robe, officials pay court from now on. She is the empress of this Xiao kingdom. 13 The young emperor and empress, in their youth deeply in love, is a cherished tale in the capital. Many years hence, in Zhao Mingxuan's harem, I am the only one there. I believe he truly loves me. I have also fallen in love with him, but power, sooner or later, will change a person without us noticing. Even the deepest affection in youth fades, but after reaching middle age and being steeped in power, people always change. He had only made one trip to Jiangnan, yet Zhao Mingxuan's heart was already won over by a young and beautiful woman. He said that woman reminded him very much of me in my youth. He held my hand, saying he only pitied that woman, then let the other enter the palace. At first, she was just a lowly maid. Later she became a noble consort, a veiled concubine, rising to the first among the 4 noble consorts, and then, there was a second one, and a third. Many young and beautiful women. Zhao Mingxian still loves me, but with much more vigilance than before, only because I am holding that blank imperial decree in my hand. When he once expressed his determination to me, the guarantee he personally handed to me now keeps him awake at night. So he began to test me, to guard against me. At that time I already had 3 sons and 2 daughters. The children had all grown up. That blank imperial edict, I personally burned to ashes in front of Zhao Mingxian. He was furious with joy, saying he would not fail me in this life. Turning around, holding his new delight Li Fei, he stroked her slightly swollen belly and said he would give him the child, the throne. Actually, it's not only emperors who change. This queen, can also change. Poison, I had prepared long ago. It won't kill immediately, but it will slowly drain a person's vital blood. One morning, Zhao Mingxian suddenly toppled to the ground and fell ill and bedridden on the dragon couch. He held my hand and began to chatter about many of those memories that I have almost forgotten. Finally, he changed the topic and told me to treat Lady Li Fei well. I whispered my agreement and said that after he dies, I would let his beloved Lady Li accompany him to burial. There's no hidden reason. Lady Li wants to seize the throne by plotting against the crown prince, and she harmed my child, so she must not live. In the end, have become a heart of stone. With the rise of the new emperor, I became the Empress Dowager. My younger sister never married in her life, but with my protection, she lived this life with great freedom. From now on, I will also live a good life. Feeling and love are nothing but an illusion, like a mirage in a distant water and moon, empty and unreal. In youth, believing in them is enough.